Welcome to Guzzlr.
Right. Hello and welcome to... You are recording,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. I'll double check.
Thank God.
Guzzlr podcast.
Right, so today, boys, we are discussing just countries, travelling, why we think travelling's good, countries you've been to, maybe some stories from those countries. Obviously not just like interesting stories. Not just like
folklore from countries.
Oh yeah, and like... what's the word I'm looking? Anecdotes of like things that actually happened to us. Yeah, not just like folklore and stuff like that. Yeah, that's hilarious.
In Spain in 1776, there was a man who.
So we didn't really discuss how we were gonna approach this. Do you know what I mean? Like how we were gonna go through a list of countries. In my head now, we're just all gonna yell a country.
Yeah, we just go for it. I think that sorry. Oh, also beer as well.
Oh yeah, beer.
Me and you, Alfie, we're drinking a can called Metamorphosis.
Yes, mate.
If you hold us up, I'll do a screenshot.
6.7. I'll read the back this time because
Yes.
you've already read the back once. So it says, and this is weird. It says Kaiju on the side. Is that the brewery?
Oh, yeah, Kaiju, probably, yeah.
Kaiju.
Yeah.
So it says, after being crushed to goo at the hands of the Mechagoranodon, the mysterious beastie plots future devastation from within the hop cocoon. Will its multi-photosynthesate provide sweet relief from the bitter lupulin coursing through its xylem and phloem? We'll find out at the end of the episode.
Yeah,
boys.
we'll find out. It's 6.7%.
Yeah, 6.7. That's crazy. And
It's
this
got
is...
golden amber
I
colour.
did actually check. This is the Melbourne box.
Okay, right.
Because we wasn't sure last episode if it was
Yeah.
New Zealand or Australia, so it is
It's
Australia.
Melbourne.
It's Melbourne,
Okay.
yeah. Very nice.
And
I'm
Declan,
drinking
you are?
coffee.
What coffee?
Instant.
Yeah, what instant?
I don't
Nescafe?
know, it's just some shit coffee I got from Lidl.
Dow
I don't
what's
know.
that called? Dow egg, what's-
It's just some shit that I got from
It's
Lidl.
soil. It's just soil.
Medium roast?
Actually,
Strong
I think it's
roast?
Morrison's. Gold.
I like Morrison's. Fair enough, Dave. I was just trying to get involved in the conversation. It was just, you know.
So it's a good point as well to mention that the three of us, we've been quite privileged to travel quite a few places between the three of us and see quite a lot of places.
Because
Because
of my military background.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Jack Reacher. And the three of us, travel means quite a lot to all of us. We yearn to go places and things. Well, I know a lot of people do that, and a holiday, like summer holiday, is a big thing to everyone. But it's a big thing to us, isn't it? I think travel's very important. Yarmouth, exactly. Yeah. Well, I do think travel's very important. I read a story the other day of this couple who they took their 6-year-old and 12-year-old out of school for like 4 years, and they just travelled the world, and they schooled them like during when they were like travelling around. And I think that's a very cool way. I think you learn far more when you're travelling than you do possibly sat doing lessons and things, because you're educated in a totally different way. I think that you learn more about the world than you could possibly learn sat in a classroom. To clarify, I work in school. I'm not against education, but I just mean that if you have the
Education
opportunity,
sucks. We should take all the kids, we should put them in a fucking plane, and we should just send them off to places.
certain places.
And they'll be
But I do
fine.
think-
They'll be fine.
I do think it's quite a nice. If you have the opportunity to do it, I think that's a wonderful thing.
Well, I think, building on that point, and just like having a brief look at my thing, is that like every country I've been to, I've enjoyed for a completely different reason, which builds on your like education point where people learn different things. So like I've got countries obviously that I went to just to, I don't know, get drunk, have a sit in the sun or whatever. Then there's also countries that I went to because like the history, because I had a massive interest in the history. Then there's countries that it's just like to see some sights, so not just like be hot and chill, but to go like climbing a mountain or go exploring and get a sense. And then some's just like culture, just because they've got really interesting culture different to ours, and it's nice to experience that. So I think travelling is just such like there's so many diverse different things, like benefits you can get from it.
Another thing is, if an alien, if we landed on Mars, we know what Mars like relatively looks like. But if an alien landed on Earth, if they landed in the Lake District, would they be like, oh, this is what Earth looks like? When if they went like, not that far away, they'd be in like the middle of like Tunisian desert or something like that, and then, would they think that's what the world looks like? Our world is so different and not even that far away from each other.
You mean like biodiversity and stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy. Yeah. Whereas Mars is just
Just like, you don't like this side of Mars. It's just like soil. And then you go the other side, like massive jungles, with these waterfalls, and like no water on Mars. Well, there is, but yeah.
I like the fact you just slagged off Mars.
Yeah.
Just didn't expect you to drag Mars through the mud in this podcast. Bit harsh.
Well,
right. So how are we actually talking about countries? Let's go
I
back
think
to that.
we'll just actually we could mention the fact that we all met in a country. I know we all everyone meets in a country. But
yeah, England.
Yeah, we met in a country, and that being Malaysia and Borneo.
Well, I mean, like we did meet here first. We
Yes.
became friends.
We
in
became
Borneo.
friends.
I agree with that
Yes.
point, but it's not like because that makes it sound like what you managed to persuade one of our friends
Yes.
that we did just randomly come across
Yeah.
each other in Borneo.
Which
Yeah.
is still a
Isn't
running
the case.
gag, by the way.
Um,
She still
which
believes
is still
that
a
we
thing,
came
yeah.
from the same school and we just happened to be in Borneo at the same time. 5 years. 5 years she's believed that for. 5 years.
It's crazy, isn't it?
So we came from the same town, everything that, but we didn't. Our first conversation when we was on I want to call it holiday, on holiday in Borneo. It wasn't really a holiday, but you know. And we went to Borneo for a month, and we travelled quite a lot of Malaysia and Borneo, which is the northern part of Borneo, and we done all sorts of things that we've never done and might not ever
Some
do ever
stuff I
again.
don't want to do again.
I don't know why I would.
Yeah,
Some stuff I don't want
What's
to do
that?
again.
Yeah, well,
That
my
walk to work. Jesus Christ. Me and Louis had to stop some days.
No, you
Let's-
had to stop.
let's mention this walk
Louis
to work.
stopped
What was
to
this
be
walk
with
to
you.
work?
Nah, Louis unfit as I was back then, mate.
I was, yeah. Let's talk about this walk to work.
What one? There were many.
Right, go on then.
So what was
the
walk
worst
about?
one was the first
Right.
one.
Yeah, in a place
The
The
called
walk back
Tinagal.
was worse, wasn't it?
In a place called Tinagal, in Sabah in Borneo, and this was it was about 45 minutes. Was it about that?
Well,
It
I
felt
don't,
about
I
an
don't
hour and a
remember
half,
it being
yeah.
that long. It was only like 20 minutes.
It might not
It
have been. It just felt long.
It felt very long.
So we'd
See,
have
Dex
to
don't
walk,
remember this. You
No.
loved it.
Yeah, I loved
we'd have
it.
to walk around this like swampy area and like through this like all these trees and forest area, and up this hill. There was this hill, wasn't there? That was like
I'd
and they said,
prefer
just look
the
at the
word
floor.
mountain to describe it.
Yes, alright, yeah. And it was like, just look at the floor and you'll be up there in no time. I had to stop
We
like 2
weren't.
times up that hill. It was this massive hill. And you get down the other side, and it's that steep going down it, and you've got to do that on the way back after 8 hours worth of work as well, yeah. And I also remember on the way to work, there was this massive box that looked like, well, the size of a small house on legs, and it was a bird box, wasn't it? Remember
What?
that?
Don't
It was a
remember.
big birdhouse.
I don't remember that at all.
And it was literally a house. And they said they made bird nest soup out of it. Do you remember
You ever had bird nest soup?
that? No, I haven't, have you?
No, mate, no. I'd quite like to, though.
Just to see what it's like, yeah, I agree.
Just interest, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dex making a weird face. Do you want to try
I don't
bird
think
nest
it's
soup?
anything worse. Like, I
no.
genuinely...
The fermented egg thing?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
That sounds way worse.
Yeah, it does. And then the next place we went to in Borneo, we stayed in the jungle.
Yeah, mate. I like the
We
jungle.
stayed- we stayed
after,
Batu
that
Putra.
was
I
after
forgot to pack any
Sepulok, though.
t-shirts, though.
Mm.
I
It was
was,
after
yeah.
Sepulok, yes, so we went to Sepulok. And what is
It's an
Sepulok?
orangutan century.
Yeah, and I didn't like it. I'll be honest with
Orangutan means old man of the jungle.
Did you know? I didn't really either.
you. Alfie,
You
you
are?
was like, did you not? And then, no, you didn't.
I remember when we were at
What did Dex
Sepulok, an orangutan was like reaching out to touch me. Have you? And it had swung and got onto the. So basically, to describe what it's like, it's basically a building on the edge of a jungle, and then a walkway that goes into the jungle. So you walk into the jungle and walk back. Now the walkway's obviously got banisters because they don't want people to fall like 10 feet onto the floor of the fucking jungle. And I was walking along, and one of the orangutans swung over and sat on the handrail right next to me and tried to reach out to touch me. And all I could hear was like of one of the guards, I assume, running up beside me, and it just that's
God,
him.
Wardens.
It just pushes the orangutan off of the side of this handrail, and I was like, you've just killed that monkey. Like, that's a 10-foot drop. That's going to get concussed and shit. And as I like looked over the side, it grabbed a vine or some shit and was just swinging happily back and forth. My heart has never beaten so fast.
I remember seeing an orangutan and they said, like, just get away from this one because it will, like...
Because there was one, like, sat on the rail thing.
It was like a violent one.
People, like, crowding round.
Yeah.
But, like, I guess they're dangerous, right?
Yeah,
if they wanted to be, they could mess you up.
Yeah,
right?
definitely. You see on like You've Been Framed, where just the little monkeys like attack people and stuff like that. This is like an orangutan. Exactly. This is the size of a small child.
And like people that keep like chimps and stuff, you hear about them going mental and like messing. Let alone a fucking orangutan.
This can rip your face off. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And
I also remember.
The other thing quickly about the orangutan thing, they had like sun bear things as well, though, right?
Yes. Oh yeah, sun bears.
They did.
No one gave a shit about the sun bear.
Mate, they are the weirdest looking fucking things.
I just like no one even tells you they're there till you turn up. No one gives a shit. It's called Orangutan Sanctuary, and everyone's like, oh yeah, by the way, there's some sun bears.
Can we put some sun bears in the YouTube version of this? Just find a picture that's royalty free and put it.
I can put a picture on it. Yeah. Oh, I think Declan, none of our pictures are royalty free, mate. We get it's fine.
They're about. I was about to say this big. You can't see. They're not very big at all. Are they? Like they're like the size of a toddler, and they climb to the top of trees and stuff like that. But I think they're adorable. I prefer them to the orangutans. I remember watching this, like, I'm not gonna say a show. It was like people were basically sat in these seats and they were watching this thing of these orangutans swinging through the trees. And there was a baby orangutan that everyone was ahhing over, and it went to swing and just missed the next vine and just fell, and everyone was like, "No!"
It just gets up and starts walking about again.
Probably.
Yeah.
They're really like light and shit, aren't they? So
they're hollow.
Yeah. Fall and they'll be fine. Yeah. Like birds. They've got bird bones.
Have you heard the dragon?
But then we went
theory?
to the jungle.
Just talking about hollow bones.
No.
Did you know we have never found a completed T-Rex skeleton?
I honestly thought you like to say dragon skeleton.
We only ever.
And I was like, yeah, I did know that.
We only ever find the head, and the rest of it we've made up.
Right.
Like, we occasionally find like one rib that we think might be part of a T-Rex, but we don't know. We only ever find the head. Now, hollow bones don't calcify in time for it to become a fossil. So what if T-Rexes were actually dragons?
Well,
olden civilization has some kind of dragon in it.
Or maybe though they were just like a massive head with like these tiny little legs, and the legs we just thought they were rocks and just threw them away, but they were just a walking massive head.
I mean, maybe.
Well, anyway, so next we went to the jungle, and Deck, you actually hated the jungle. I love the jungle.
Never doing that again.
Saying the
jungle
jungle
was sick.
Is one of the best things I've ever done. We went on a midnight walk. I say midnight, it's probably about 7 o'clock, it got that dark.
Now that weren't sick.
That was terrifying.
Was it?
I thought it was terrifying. The man was just walking with a machete, and he just like made like an indent on the tree to find his way back. And then all of a sudden we were just back in camp, and I was like, how do we get back here?
And also we got lost during the day, didn't we?
Yeah, we did,
we
got lost during the day, and he thought, great idea though. If we get lost during the day,
I'm pretty sure
we'll go at midnight.
Yeah, they're proper panic, but like we were not deep in the jungle.
We were 10 minutes away from camp.
We were walking like a. Yeah, we were like adjacent to a river, and there was camps everywhere along the river. Like we were not in any danger at all.
No, and it was like about 12 o'clock lunchtime.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. It's not like it was getting late.
No.
It was just the middle of the day.
Yeah.
I don't know what the issue was. The thing with the midnight walk was, we got properly prepared. We had like a full talk about all the cool shit we could see.
Yeah.
They're like, there's like snakes, there's like spiders, scorpions. Like, if you see a spider or scorpion, we got like told like don't go near it and stuff. I saw nothing, mate.
No.
I've seen more in my garden.
We saw one orangutan that was at the top of the tree.
Yeah, you could barely see it.
I'm
convinced it was orangutan. I reckon it was a bunch of bananas or something, and he was just trying to cover his ass. He's like, there's an orangutan up there. Anyway, move forward, boys.
He just felt bad.
I do think one of the highlights was just waking up to quite harrowing screams And then when you asked the camp guides what they were just like, monkey sex.
Yes, don't worry about it. Yeah,
that's terrifying.
I went to two other places in. We went to another camp called Bonker. Then we went to a place called Mantanani, which
Tropical
was
Island.
Like tropical island. And I remember when we left mainland Borneo, and the sea was filthy. The river was filthy, and you get like 40 minutes down the river, and it was just like you could clear as anything. It was amazing. Yeah,
absolutely
and
beautiful.
The depressing thing was that we was in this. I mean, the camp was strange. The rooms we stayed in were 3 walls, and so
Literally,
you can have a wall
3
that face
walls.
the ocean. So when there's a sandstorm,
and we don't mean the
so when
rooms
there's
were a triangle. We mean they were meant to be squares, but one wall was missing.
Yeah.
And it was like to look over the ocean. The ocean was that far away, and the sand just blew in. And then next door to our camp, while we was like clearing up the beach with all the rubbish on it, there was a 5-star resort, and it's just a bit of a kick in the balls, isn't it? Really, you got this lovely 5-star resort, literally over a fence from where I
that
was
was
sitting.
like the jungle though. When we did the work at the eco lodge, getting all them the things, the moss off the
that pondweed
and
stuff.
they had flushing toilets, but we were shitting in a hole in the middle of some tarpaulin.
Yeah.
Like
this massive
That's
spa
very
retreat. It looks like they've just got like people on community service coming to clean the lake for them.
yeah.
And then there's just like And we went to a place called Guzzlr as well, which we'd done scuba diving on. And it was in the middle of
which
typhoon
was
and stuff.
sick.
Yeah, it was.
No, scuba diving was shit. Sorry. Before that, when we went snorkeling, that was
Yeah, that's sick. When we left this island, it was about a 45-minute boat journey. This is one of the favourite moments of my entire life. A 45-minute boat journey back to the mainland, and it was in the middle of a typhoon. They kept umming whether we should leave or not. Actually, we left a day early. Some of them stayed on the island. We left a day early, and we went through a typhoon. I'm not joking. There was 2 boats, and we'd be on one boat, and there's the other boat you couldn't see because there'd be about a 15-foot, 20-foot wave. The boat was on the other side of it, and you was going up and down these things, and it was like I thought I was going to die.
What?
It was mental.
Yeah, it was absolutely terrifying.
And then like,
go on.
what do you call someone who vroom's a boat?
Sailor, driver,
Captain, sailor.
Yeah.
I don't know, but they were pissing themselves, weren't they?
Yeah.
They thought it was hilarious because
Yeah.
we were all terrified for our lives.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember there was this little cupboard in front of me where they put all like the oil and all like the boat petrol and stuff like that. Boat petrol, whatever it is. And I thought I'm gonna put my bag in there so it doesn't get wet. And we started getting these waves, and it was just pouring everywhere. And like my mate was like, "Well, let's put it in there so my bag didn't get wet." And it's just like covering all this stuff now. Yeah, it was. And there was also. It's good to mention. There's a lad on our trip. Was there something wrong with him? I don't know. But he sat on this boat reading Lord of the Rings.
He had pages
Was that
falling out
Flute
his boat.
guy?
Yeah. There was this typhoon. You are?
No, it was,
No.
no.
So I do want to talk about Flute guy.
No, but hang on, wait. He was reading this book for 45 minutes while the rain was pouring in, the wave was coming over him. Yeah, the pages were falling out of his book, and he, for 45 minutes, was just picking up pages, kept reading them, and did not turn away from his book. And it was like a comedy sketch. It was
At one
hilarious.
point, like 6 fell out, and he had to pick them up and look at the page and try and put it back in the right order.
Yeah. It just didn't stop. Yeah, brilliant. It was sopping wet. Ink was running, and he was just there.
I
just
do
reading
want
it.
to talk about Flute guy quite quickly because this may have been the scariest night of my life. And I had 2 of them on that trip. One was in the jungle when the dude shone his torch on me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into that story because it's a bit boring. But the second one is I call him Flute guy. So there was another group on Gaia with us. And someone had decided to bring their flute to Borneo. Don't know why. And I woke up at about 1, 2 in the morning, busting for a piss. Like, I had to go. When I got to the toilets, or run into the toilets, I'd ignored a noise that was coming down the bottom of the pontoon. And bearing in mind, the pontoon was like 150 metres long, 100 metres long.
Yeah. Easily. Yeah.
So I just ignored it, got what I needed to do done, and on my way back I could still hear it. So I walk about 10 metres on and look down, and the guy is at the very far end of the pontoon at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning playing the flute. I have never shat myself so hard. This was the start of a horror movie. This is how like the Pied Piper works. He lures. I'm assuming he was trying to lure the fish towards him instead of rats. But nah, never doing that again.
Yeah, maybe he's trying to like lure locals to just walk off the pontoon and jump to their deaths.
The water was like 5 metres deep. Ow.
Not 150 metres out. It weren't.
Yeah, it were.
It was still pretty shallow though, I'll admit.
And
I imagine the locals on that island are pretty good at swimming as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 45 minutes to the mainland. Yeah.
I didn't say it was a foolproof place. He's a guy with a flute on a pontoon. All right, he hadn't thought it through.
In terms of culture as well, this was totally different to what we've experienced before. Yeah, we was crapping in a hole. Like we had in one place we actually had a shower, but we was only allowed it for 2 minutes, and the other places we had.
Clean never been to my house, mate.
You are. I cleaned every house. and
yeah, it was different. It was very different.
Yeah, some of the other places we just had we had one bucket of water for a shower.
Actually,
it was
totally also like in the jungle, the showers were like next to the river
where the crocodiles were,
and they were like, whenever you're showering, you need to look out for crocodiles.
Yeah, you had to go with someone else.
You have to go down there in pairs.
I remember we couldn't shower.
That's crazy
because there were crocodiles in the shower.
That's just crazy. Yeah. And obviously, you just had a bucket that you threw over each other.
One night we had to gut fish and we had the fish eyeballs and stuff. Like, it's a totally different culture to what we've done.
I wouldn't do that.
So whereabouts then, lads, have you all been in Europe?
Yarmouth,
yeah, Skeggy.
Scotland, Ireland.
I don't. I'm worried to say somewhere because then, like, I don't know how the conversations. Let's start close and broaden.
All right, go on.
So I've been to Scotland.
You've been to Scotland, yes. Yep. Have you been to Scotland, Declan? So I think it's a marvellous place.
There you
go.
go.
It's absolutely I think it's a wonderful place. Wonderful. It is.
Where you been?
We went to a place called Crieff, which is about the centre of Scotland, near a place called Perth. But it's absolutely magical. I've been there for 5 Christmases, and I think just very magical with the snow. I'm at like 2 foot of snow. These snow drifts. I think it's just an absolutely wonderful place. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. We did like a road trip thing in Scotland. We stayed in a different hotel every night, so we just like drove during the day, stopped at places. I think we went to like Edinburgh and stuff like that. I can't remember where we stopped though, but
you went to I do remember you going to one place. It was the place where people used to run away to get married, didn't you? I can't remember the name of it on the board.
I don't know what it's called though.
I can't remember that,
but yeah, we drove around and stayed in a different hotel every night. It's just beautiful, mate. Absolutely beautiful. I do like Scotland. It makes you realise how shit England is. To be fair.
It does. Yeah. Wales. You've been to Wales?
Yeah, I went to Wales in September.
You did, didn't you? I climbed Snowdon and it was very, very nice. Very nice.
Was it? What was climbing Snowdon like?
So I think
how long did it take?
There's about 8 different roads you can take up Snowdon, and we done one called, I'm not sure if it's called the Pink or the Pig. I can't remember if it was Pink or Pig. That track, yeah. And it took us about 3 hours to get up there, but there were 6 of us, and we took it quite slow and stuff like that. And one thing I very much remember, me and this girl, we started to like run down this particular bit to get to this lake, and when you start running down a mountain, you cannot stop.
Oh yeah, I ran down. So we climbed Penny Fan.
Right, yeah.
It's the highest peak in what's that area of Wales called?
Snowdonia?
Nah, that'd be Snowdon, wouldn't
it? Yeah. Got the highest peak in Snowdonia would be Snowdon, to be fair. Yeah, good for you.
I can't remember anyway.
London.
So we climbed that, and we went there at, I think we got there for like 4 a.m. or something because we wanted to see the sunrise. I say we. I'm a miserable bastard. I ate sunrises. They did. But I went. We were climbing up the mountain, and obviously, some of you may know I'm not the fittest person in the world. That's an understatement. So we were climbing this mountain. I was trying to keep up with everyone, and I was dying, mate. Absolutely dying. So I told them to go on. So I ended up walking up this mountain.
And when you got to the top, it was sunset.
No, I did make it in time. This guy genuinely must have been about 70, 80. And he had his family with him. And I was walking behind them, and they turned to me and they said, just walk round us, like, he's really struggling. And I just went to them, so am I. And I ended up walking up with him. And, like, me and this old man...
in the wheelchair.
Me and this old man had to stop every now and again and have a breath. And, like, his family's fine, and it's just me and this, like, 70-year-old, like, oh, Jesus. But I did make it up, to be fair. And, like, the others were up there genuinely about half hour before me because I took fucking ages. But they were just stood at the peak of the mountain, just freezing cold because obviously it's like gale force winds. But I got up there about 10 minutes before sunrise. That was lovely, mate. Got up there, had a bit of a stand, watched the sunrise, left. They were shivering their tits off, so I think I won, really. But yeah, in terms of the running down thing, I started running down the mountain, and I ate absolute shit. Oh my god. So like I face planted, and then I don't even know how this works. I have a physics degree. This does not make sense. I face planted, and then did like a sausage roll. But I don't know how that happened. And then I sausage roll into this man, and he was just like, "You right, mate?" And I just went, "Yeah," and then got up and kept walking. I was pissing blood.
Like, help,
I was absolutely pissing blood. Oh, blood was everywhere, mate.
I remember you had
for anyone that's into exercise, I know you two aren't, but for anyone that is, if you're trying to increase hamstring strength when you run and you're meant to run downhill.
Oh, really?
It makes sense to be fair. I found running downhill.
It's because the hamstrings.
Going downhill is really
because
hard.
the hamstrings are required a significant amount more when you're going downhill for deceleration.
It's incredibly hard to run downhill. I just thought of something from Borneo, but that's what I'm saying. You mean about sunrises? In an island called Mantanani, which I just mentioned, we saw the sunrise and the sunset there. I think Lonely Island, the travel people, they said that it was the best place in the world to see sunsets. Oh, sorry, I was just wondering if it was sunsets or sunrise, but Lonely Planet said it was one of the best. So that's very interesting. Basically.
The thing
out
is
of the United Kingdom.
On sunrises and sunsets is everyone said like the experience of getting there is never nice, right?
Yeah.
But everyone says it's worth it. But I don't like the end product, so I have the shit experience of getting there, and then I don't care. I don't like sunrises and suns. I don't know why. It's something in me. I just think they look like shit. So all I've done is I've climbed a mountain in agony, and then I've stood there and not enjoyed myself.
I think the sunset in Borneo was. I think it was very nice. I think maybe the atmosphere was quite nice. But walking back to our camp was this rainstorm where you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. So bad. I mean, you really couldn't see a thing. The rain hurt. It was like smashing down. It was absolutely awful.
And then we went to see the sunrise. It was really early in the morning and pouring down.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
When we went,
so
it was horrible.
No win.
I think we should do the Three Peaks challenge.
I'd like the P freaks. The P freaks.
Give me
approximately. Hours, in 74.
Give me a decade to get fit, and then I'll.
As soon as COVID's over.
I've started skipping, so I'm gonna be like Anthony Joshua in a couple of weeks.
You can skip up there. Right. So outside of the United Kingdom, where else have we been, gentlemen?
Ireland.
You're going quite broad here now.
I've never been to Ireland.
I've never been to Ireland.
Anyway, in Europe still. Yeah, I'd really like to go to Dublin. I'd like to go to the that place, Guinness place. I'd just like to go to the pubs in Dublin and stuff like that. I think
I stayed at the west. I stayed on the west coast, near the Cliffs and Moher. Don't know if you've heard of them. Quite famous. Quite famous.
I've heard of them.
Well, anyway, near then there's a pub called Dirty Nelly's, right? No one listens to this, but if they do and they go to Ireland, go and find Dirty Nelly's. It's the oldest pub in Ireland. I think it's 800 years old or something like that. Right next door to it, there's a castle where you can go and they do like, them days that people go on and dress up and they do weird shit like sword fights and that sort of bollocks.
Yeah, like war.
Yeah, shit like that. And at night they'll have a big feast where you can eat meat off the bone and drink mead and that sort of shit. Mead is really nice, by the way.
Yeah, I've never tried mead. Niall drank it on this podcast.
Yeah, I did see it's really good. Actually, if you put mead in a really sour red wine, it tastes really good. Anyway, Dirty Nelly's, they pull one of the best Guinnesses in Ireland. It's incredible. It comes out like syrup. Really, really cold. Like, it'll give you brain freeze. It's banging.
Yeah, I would
like slush puppy.
Yes. Guinness slush puppy. So one place that I'd like to mention as well, because I imagine we'll probably do a 2-part one in this, Alfie, would you agree? Because we have a lot of places.
Yeah, I was literally just thinking that.
But there's one place I want to mention before, like, just to make sure we're getting this one, and that's the three of us went to the Netherlands together, to Amsterdam.
Yes.
So I went the November before, and I kept saying, well, I was like, I'm going to Amsterdam. I was telling Mum and all that. I was like, I'm going to go to Amsterdam in this particular half term, and I booked it off work and stuff. And we said we was going on the Thursday, and it got to the Monday, and I hadn't booked any of it. I had no idea the flight, nothing. I was like, I'm going now. And then it got to the Tuesday, and I said to my girlfriend, I was like, we should book a hotel and a flight because we're meant to be going in 2 days. And we booked it on the cheap. We had no idea. And that night we just booked some tours, and it was absolutely wonderful. And then the following July, the three of us went. And I just think Amsterdam is the most wonderful place in the world. It's like a fairy tale theme park without the roller coasters. That's the best.
So also, I went to Amsterdam when I was what year were we in during?
About year 9, so we were about 13.
Not. Yeah. So I went to Netherlands then, obviously, and stayed with Wouter.
Obviously.
Lovely guy. Obviously, Wouter, as we all know him well. And I'd say that going to Amsterdam with the school was a slightly different experience to the one we had.
I imagine it was.
Not much. We were all still off our tits, but it was different focus.
Yeah,
it's more educational.
Yeah. Well, when we went, we stayed in a place called Haarlem. There was 6 of us.
Yes.
Was there 6 of us or
6.
5 of us? There were 6 of us. There were 6 of us. And we went to this place called Haarlem, which is like this. Well, apparently it's a major city, but we didn't see that end area of it. It was this tiny little village that no noise came from. And we was dragging our suitcases through these cobbled streets, embarrassed by the noise we were making. And we got to this house, a massive house, 3-story house. It was a lovely house, and we stayed there. And every day we'd get the
train.
The train in, which was about like a 25-minute walk to the station. But Haarlem was a lovely place, so it was really, really nice.
The thing, so when we got back, I started reading. I told you this before, but I started reading Dracula. And Haarlem is where Van Helsing gets his garlic from, which I just thought was quite a random.
Yeah.
It's just random that Haarlem was obviously Van Helsing is Dutch.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where he gets his garlic. Which interesting
fact. Yeah. Well, we've got the train every day, and if you haven't been to Amsterdam, there's it's obviously full of canals. It's more canals than like Birmingham and Venice combined, and there's like a big river that sort of surrounds it. And at the top end, there's a station, and then the river's behind that, and everything is in front of the station. So you walk one way. So when you get out of this station, you see all the thousands of cycles. Cycles? Is that a word?
Yeah.
Cycle? A bicycle.
Sure.
Like all everywhere. But then you walk down, and it really is just like the most. The first place we went to was this place called. It was like the #1 place in the Netherlands for chips, and there's a long line, and we queued up for it, and it wasn't worth it in my eyes.
I don't think they were great. I thought, but then someone got sauce.
I got
Who got
sauce.
sauce? I can't remember.
Yeah, I got
but
sauce.
The sauce was good.
very good.
Yeah.
I feel like
Maybe
it should
it
have
should
got
be
sauce.
Netherlands #1 sauce.
For 4 chips.
Genuinely,
Yeah.
I think it freaking should have, because they had like 50
I was
sauces.
gonna say, there's
Get
like
into that
yeah,
niche
it was.
market.
And then, yeah, just
sauces for
Yeah.
chips.
And next door to that, there was
Yeah.
the sex museum.
Whoa.
Which is-
No,
that was
next
our
to that
first
was
stop.
the cheese shop, and then it was the sex museum.
Oh, yes. Sorry, yes, that is right. That is right. And as Brits, sex is quite a taboo. You don't talk about like sex is quite like.
Oh, I ain't in Europe, mate.
No, particularly
I love it.
in Amsterdam. The sex museum is a wild place, and it costs about £2 to get in.
The thing I remember most about the Sex Museum is how the building feels like it's going to fall down.
Yeah, you got these little tiny staircases with 50 people on them.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. And the first day, we sort of potted about and stuff like that. The first day we just potted about, but we done one thing for sure on the first. Well, actually, we also went on a canal cruise, and you loved that, didn't you, Alfie?
No, I fell asleep. I honestly just couldn't stay awake.
Yeah.
There's something about me and boats. So in Borneo, we did 2 like cruise things. We saw like monkeys and like really
Alligators.
cool stuff.
Yeah.
The first time I was like, was the first time when I needed a piss really bad? Or was
Nah.
it the second time? One of the times I was in agony because I
Your
needed
first
a
one, I
wee.
think, yeah,
And I
first
mean,
one.
like, agony, like, more pain than I've ever been in my entire
And the
life.
woman was just like...
And then the other time,
just
I
do
just
it.
kept falling asleep.
Yeah, I was...
Yeah, she's like, just wee off the boat. And I was like, I'm here with my school. My teacher's in the freaking boat. I'm not just going to wee off the side.
Stand up on an alligator-infested river and just wee off a boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we went on a boat in Amsterdam, and I fell asleep there as well.
Yeah,
I
you
just
did.
cannot stay awake on a boat.
And that night in Amsterdam, well, that day, we trekked quite far to a particular shop because we thought there was cannabis...
Milkshakes. Yeah.
Milkshakes? Yeah. And we got there wasn't. But there was this like loaf cake, and it was...
Incredible.
That you had, and me and Alfie had this tiny crumb of it, expecting something to happen. It was a tiny crumb. And then later that night, we went and got some from a coffee shop. And it was a wild experience.
I was absolutely
and we've done that
off
for the
my
next 2 nights
face
as well.
that whole day. It was brilliant. And I remember going to Ice Bar and it being a...
Oh, we did the Ice Bar on the first day, didn't we? We did
It
do
was
the
a
Ice Bar on the
trek
first day.
from the shop to the Ice Bar. And everyone
It was.
kept asking me, has it kicked in yet? Has it kicked in yet? For an hour and a half. Every 10 minutes someone asked me that. I was fuming by the end.
That was annoying.
And then it did, just as we were going into the Ice Bar. And I've never experienced anything like that. It was like having
The
pins
Ice
and
Bar was
needles
so good.
all over my body.
The
It
Ice Bar
was
was
brilliant.
wonderful. The Ice Bar was a wonderful, wonderful experience. Also in Amsterdam, we'd done the Heineken factory.
That was really good.
really
which
weird, though.
I felt like I was tripping on acid.
Yeah,
Feels like they
It
were
was
trying to make it like Willy Wonka's
very-
factory, weren't they?
very
Yeah.
modern,
It was
shall we say.
It was wild. There's this one particular bit where you go into this massive room with like screens on the floor and all the walls, and you stand in a line, and you're meant to be the bottles on a conveyor belt. And that was just so weird. And then you go into a lift, and there was this like Asian family opposite us who didn't speak a word of English. And you watch the video that's behind them, and they watch the video that's behind you. But you just stare in this family in the eyes. It's just a strange.
The
strange
weirdest
place.
thing about that for me was, before that, you meet all the horses, where you see all the horses, where you,
I was
where
confused.
you
Yeah,
see
that's
all
right.
like the carriages about how they used to deliver Heineken.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the red light district.
We did go there as well.
just calling them horse.
See all the horses.
But you go up the stairs, and then all of a sudden you're in a room where screens are literally everywhere, and it's just a bit of a
Yeah.
mismatch.
Yeah, the first part of it is like this like 1800s. It's showing you how they do the beer, and it's like, you know, it's an interesting place. And then it goes to like, you can. I imagine it. They were sitting in a boardroom going, let's turn this into an experience. And they're all going, the history, the horses. We can show them the drums in which it was made. And there's just some like that. Literally, he's just puffing on it. Goes, and what if they turn into bottles? And then it just happened. And then that's it.
That's freaking you in the meeting.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were like, we want to show them how beer's made, and then you're at the side like, we'll turn them into bottles.
And then a
of
big
it
wall
made.
opens,
Yeah.
and there's a fat bar where you can just drink, and there's music and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you get some
Yeah.
tokens, don't you?
Yeah, you get out of the lift and they're just giving you all these Heinekens. I'm like, fine, yeah, give me it. Yeah, and then you go down to that bar at the end, which is like an underground club, and it's like 2:00 in the afternoon. They're playing like some mad tunes, and you get like 5 tokens, don't you? You just saw this Heineken for free.
Lovely, mate.
Yeah.
It was lovely. I had a great time.
Had any of you
The thing
been?
is,
Sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say that like, there's so much stuff you can do in Amsterdam because we had
Yes, there is.
things planned that we didn't even get. Like we were gonna do that
Yeah.
swing thing,
Yeah.
and then like when I first went to Amsterdam, obviously it was a school trip and stuff. But like we went to Anne Frank's house and we went to the Nemo, the science museum.
Yeah, and when I went the first time,
Like, and both of those were sick.
yeah, exactly. I went to the Van Gogh Museum.
Actually, Anne Frank's house wasn't great.
I think though the Anne Frank house is something that I think everyone should experience because it's quite like it's a moment from time. And I think I don't know if I'd do it again, but I'm glad that I'd done it.
I think the problem with Anne Frank's house is it feels very like, because there's like screens everywhere, and then like there's like barriers stopping you obviously from going to places because it's like an old house and stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like they've made it a bit too like a modern museum.
The thing that I found with this about Anne Frank's house is that when you're told this story, it's like she lived in this squalor little like loft. When you go there, her house is bigger than mine. She's got 3 stories.
Yeah,
I know they're
she
actually
only
quiet
lived-
and stuff
she-
like that. and yeah.
But she didn't live in the whole house.
No,
either.
no.
It
But
was
like, it's still like it was a lot bigger than I thought it was. That it was.
I haven't been, but I can imagine it being quite poignant.
It was. I think it was. It was. Yeah, it was. And I also went to a place called I think it's called the Moco Museum, and it was really strange, really, really strange. It was next to the Van Gogh Museum, and it was a museum all about Banksy.
That is weird.
It was really weird. It was in Amsterdam. Good? It was really good. There was lots of his art, and there were literally bits of concrete and walls that they'd cut out basically and put in this museum. It was very cool. But it was so weird that was in Amsterdam. I found that incredibly strange. But no, it's a wonderful place. Have any of you been to, apart from Amsterdam? I want to get on that, but apart from Amsterdam, been to a red light district?
Been to a red light?
Yeah,
like somewhere else?
Yeah, anywhere else?
I don't think so.
Where?
Bangkok.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, but it again, the red light district is a strange experience.
Oh, definitely. Peep Show was the weirdest thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna describe what my experience of the Peep Show for the people out there that want to hear it, because I think it's quite funny. So to get in, it's like €1 or €2. So you go in, and it's it's about the size of a Portaloo, would you say? You go in, and then you put
probably slightly smaller.
You put like €2 or €1 coin in a little slot, and then this blind opens, and there's just a woman fricking herself, like flicking the bean. But like she's on a revolving bed, so she just lays down.
A lazy Susan.
And there's all like the booths around the bed, so people can go in different booths at different times, and they can see everything that's going on. Two things, right? One, there's tissues in the booth. I don't want to know what they were for. Assumably people with runny noses. Two,
crying.
Yeah.
Just sobbing at the beauty of it.
Two, when I went in and my screen opened, there was a woman in a booth directly opposite me.
That's the weirdest bit.
That wasn't looking at the woman.
Yeah, you could see other
she
people.
was looking me directly in the eye. Now, you're not meant to be able to see in other people's booths, but for some reason,
that is a strange
thing. I could see her perfectly, and I assumed she could see me too.
The weirdest thing is that when my blind opened, because we went by ourselves, apart from the girls who went in all together. That when my blind opened, I don't know what I was expecting really. I don't know what I was expecting, but I thought that I'd be able to see this woman, but she was facing away from me, and you only get 1 minute, so she's facing away from me, towards the people opposite me. So all I can see is the shoulders and her hair. So I'm like, what's the point in this? So instead, I am just looking at the people opposite who are just looking at this woman, and it is such a strange thing. I can literally see the facial expressions on all these people's faces. Like, why is that a thing? I can see them. Yeah. It's so strange. And then in this tiny room you've got like these like, I don't know, things all running down the walls and stuff. It's so weird. But eventually when she turned around, she began to take her knickers off. And as it was just passing my window, and then my blind came down, and I knew that Alfie was the one next to me. And all I could think of as I left, I was like, Alfie's got about 15 seconds of just whatever she's going to show him.
Mental, mate.
Yeah.
Absolutely mental. All I'll say is, I got my money's worth.
So the tissues were for
you. There was a bloke in one of the booths that we was waiting for to like come out. So there's a light above it that's like red and green when it's vacant or not vacant. And as soon as that light would go green, he'd put another quid in. Just keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. He didn't want to leave. Like, wow.
Yeah, because the thing is, when you're waiting outside to go in, you can see the light change.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, that one's free. And then the light goes red again, and you're like, nope, that's a bit dodgy.
You wouldn't want to go there after him. You wouldn't.
No. But it is. I wonder what percentage of their money comes from like just tourists doing it for a laugh, and what percentage comes
people
from
going for a wank.
Either tourists doing it for,
Yeah. It's a very tourist thing, isn't it? I think it's because it's in the same place on the other side. There's like one that you play a $5 for, isn't it? But it's just the person is just in it for you.
Yeah, I imagine most of their money just comes from people just interested in just seeing what it's about.
I think it's a cultural experience, and also while we're on the idea of Amsterdam, there's these little things in the middle of the street which are like these iron sort of spirals.
Oh yeah.
And you just go in and wee. Don't you? Like,
Yeah, they're weird. Right?
it's really
Fibonacci
weird. And
toilets.
there's about like a foot from yeah. There's a foot from the floor in which it's just a gap, so you can see my feet. Because I went in when I was bursting, I couldn't wait. And you can see my feet, and then it's like me just urinating on the floor. And also there's a foot from the top though, so like I'm just staring you all in the eyes, and you're just seeing me wee on the floor in the middle of the street.
It is weird.
And these are
It was a weird experience for us as well. Don't worry about that.
These are in all the
Way
main
too
streets,
intimate.
and I just thought this is crazy. However, I didn't think it was that crazy because I did use one, but yeah,
Exactly. That's what that meant.
yeah,
You had to go.
yeah, okay.
I like the idea that maybe they like that was just a random thing they have, and we just saw some homeless man going in for a toilet, and you were like, "Oh, gotta have a go at
What a ride!
Yeah, and they've got CCTV, and they're like, "That's a sculpture."
This is better than the
And it's
full
me just urinating on the floor. Like,
crazy.
yeah. Well, crazy place.
So yeah, I think if we obviously I've got loads of other countries and stories and stuff, so I think if we just split this in half, because it's not like we've got loads of topics we're trying to burn for at the moment
exactly.
anyway. So
No. I agree. If we could end this one now, and have you got an idea next week for what you want to do?
Nope.
We could do the follow-on next week if you like,
Sure.
or we could do it in
might as
10
well.
weeks, whichever. We'll have a talk about it anyway.
cool, nice.
Nice. I
Any
enjoyed
more
that.
stories from Borneo, Amsterdam, Scotland or Wales, boys? Anything you want to add? Anything that happened that was exciting?
I mean,
Puna.
I think I could easily find some for Amsterdam, but I can't think of any.
Puna. We had a cat.
So we stayed in an Airbnb in Harlem.
I've never hated
We stayed in
something more.
Airbnb. The clause of the Airbnb.
We had to look after a cat.
Excellent.
We did indeed.
And it was called Puna. Yeah. The cat obviously is called Puna, and in England, poon means vagina. So we're just shouting this in the middle of Harlem, and there's no noise in Harlem. But yeah, it was this weird cat and it said it was independent, and it wanted more attention than anything I've
Oh my
ever
God,
experienced
I wanted
in
to
my
kill it.
life.
Every night. Meow. Meow.
Yeah,
All night.
and apparently, it wasn't even his cat. He was like, "Oh, it's just it's not mine." But it lived with us and wouldn't leave us alone for all the days until the day we had to leave, and it turned into this vicious beast.
I remember waking up one morning. It was like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and it was on me. Why?
Yeah.
Get off.
It just got in all our rooms, and I put it outside one night. I was like, I guess that's outside. And then it got on we had a little balconette, and it was just at our window. Like, all right.
I remember shouting
But
down
yeah, on the
to
last
Dad.
day, it was like, "Can you put it in the kitchen?"
I remember shouting down to your girlfriend and being like, "Shut the cat up."
yeah. But on the last day, I was like, "Can you keep it in the kitchen?" And we got to pick it up to put it in the kitchen, and it had like Wolverine claws on that day. It turned into this beast. It was a wild thing, crazy.
Right, so Louis, beer.
I'm a big fan.
Any good?
I think it's very nice.
It's lovely.
Really, really nice.
It's really, really good.
It's got like a
I'd argue
sort of fruity undertone.
that there's a sweet relief from the bitter lupulin coursing through its xylem and phloem. I'd argue.
I had that.
Thought that exact thing.
I just couldn't think of it in my mind to put it into words. But yeah, it's got a fruity aspect to it. I think it's really, really nice.
No, it's lovely. Really, really nice. I think it's fine. It's good.
I mean, there's no way on earth you could get this in a pub in England. But if I ever find myself in Melbourne, I will indeed buy this Metamorphosis Indian
one
Pale
down.
Ale. Yeah.
I'm interested, so obviously we've had a Melbourne box, a Poland box. I'm interested how common these actually are in that country, if they're just obscure breweries there as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree, because I want an England box where we just get not even English beers, just beers you get in England, but like a Budweiser, a Stella, Carlsberg, just these things
stuff we drink.
Yeah. A Guinness, not even English at all, but just because that's what we drink here, isn't it? Yeah. But I agree, it'd be interesting to see how common these are.
Yeah, 100%. So, deck coffee, mate, was alright?
Went through a lot of racehorse. I'm busting for a piss.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, fair enough. Well, we're wrapping up now, to be fair, mate. So, it's alright. By wrapping up, I mean we're done. So, yeah, we will do a travel too.
Yeah.
You alright?
Yeah. Sorry, what did you just say?
This episode, let him close.
That's what I was saying. I was waiting, but you
yes,
said
we will do a travel too. We will do a travel too. We will do a follow. Oh my god, a follow up.
Maybe don't
Jesus
let him close.
Christ. Oh, I'm a stroke. Yeah, I can't. Bye. We'll see you next week.
Adios.
Screw it. See you later.
Thank you for listening to this Guzzlr podcast.